Testing, 1, 2, 3. All right, good evening, everyone. We're going to call this meeting to order. Today is a work session meeting of the City Council of the City of Cape May. We are here in the Cape May City Hall Auditorium. It is Tuesday, November 1st, 2022. The time is 6 o'clock. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Under the Open Public Meetings Law, notice of this meeting was sent to the Cape May County Herald and the Press of the Atlantic City, and a copy of the agenda was delivered to each member of City Council and posted on the Cape May City website and Cape May City Hall Bulletin Board. Notice is hereby provided that Cape May City Council meetings are audio recorded and video streamed live. Live video streams are posted to the Cape May City website. The City of Cape May is not responsible if audio recording or live video streaming of a meeting is unavailable. Roll call. Councilmember Baldwin? Here. Councilmember Meyer?
Here.
Mayor Mullick?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Sheehan? Here. Councilmember Yeager?
Here. City
City Solicitor Gillen Schwartz?
Here.
City Manager Vole?
Here.
And Deputy City Manager Belasco is also present. Hey, Mayor, any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Any additions or deletions, Council? No. Okay. Update, City Manager? Any updates?
Yes, Mayor, Council, ladies and gentlemen here tonight. Just a brief update on some of the projects that we've been working on. The firehouse, if you've seen it tonight, they start putting the shingles on the roof there. It's coming along. Lafayette Street Park, Kiwanis Park, the Franklin Street School Library Project, AME Church, the police station, Poverty Beach restrooms, all moving in a positive direction, and really pleased to see these things move along. We just had a seawall meeting today on the seawall for down at Poverty Beach. We've had a meeting the other day with Atlantic City Electric, the neighbors of the substation, the adjoining neighbors of the Atlantic City Electric substation, which is coming along and being developed. We had an online virtual meeting with the DEP about ongoing projects. Pittsburgh Avenue resurfacing project has been awarded by the county commissioners on October 25th. You're going to notice this month a no shave for our police officers, and that's not only our department, but for all law enforcement throughout the county. And that's in honoring Mrs. Amy Baker, the wife of Trooper Jason Baker, and their son Jason. Amy has been diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumor, cancer. So all Cape May County law enforcement, it's in their thoughts and prayers this month for her success. Next Tuesday, as we all know, is Election Day. And then next Friday is Veterans Day. 11 o'clock will be the ceremony. We're so proud of that park. I remember one of the first things that was put on my list when I received this job last year is get it done. Well, we got it done, and it's a beautiful park, and we want to see as many people out to honor our veterans next Friday, the 11th. And last but not least, let's go Phillies tonight at 8:03 on the beach next to Convention Hall. Thank you. That's it, Mayor.
All right, thank you. City Solicitor?
I don't have anything tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. All right. And before we get into the ordinances, do you want to introduce?
Yes, if I may, Mayor, I've asked our Superintendent of Sewer and Water, Rob Kaminsky, to please come up, address any concerns. People may have received some calls about the mailer that was sent out. Rob, take a seat and address any questions the council may have.
You can all come up if you'd like. It's up to you. Rob, thank you. How are you? How are you? Thanks for being here.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I have a brief statement, and then we can do questions and answers. Sure. I would like to begin by stating that the October 28th, 2022 notice is not a violation for unsafe drinking water, and at no time was anyone at risk. This was, in fact, a low-level violation for a treatment technique, more specifically for pH. This notice was required and written by New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection for exceeding a newly established range for pH during the first 5 months of 2021. Since receiving this notification from NJDEP, we immediately made minor operational adjustments to make sure that the water entering the distribution system remains within the optimal range. Because there was no immediate threat to public health and safety, the city and NJDEP coordinated on the required notification to be delivered in connection with these results. Despite our attempts to make the notice more informative and direct on what occurred, the Bureau required specific language to be conveyed. Cape May has never had a lead action level exceedance. We are sampling 40 residences in this year to confirm that the water delivered by the utility meets or exceeds all state and federal guidelines. I'd like to close by stating that at no time was the City of Cape May concerned for the safety of the drinking water. The health and welfare of our residents is our #1 priority.
Thank you, Rob.
You're welcome.
Do you, I'm sorry, I forget your name. I'm sorry, from CMA. Mike, I know Keith is normally, but he's away, but
Mike, if you could, just hit the green button there.
Mike from CME. Do you have anything to add on that? I know, like, one of the issues that I just wanted to make sure everyone understood was the pH level. I think the highest we were at was something like 8.6 or something like that. or
8.5 and
8.5.
some decimals, yeah.
And the law changed to make it 8 being the maximum.
Yes.
Is that correct?
That's correct. I guess every permitted water treatment plant has an optimum pH range issued by the DEP. Cape May's was previously, was it 6.8 to 8.8?
Right.
And then it was modified to be 7 to 8.
Okay.
Yes.
So it was that short period of time where it did exceed the 8. Just so everybody's aware, pH is an indicator of corrosiveness of the water. On the low side is more corrosive than being on the high side.
Right.
So even though this was an exceedance, it's no concern because it was on the higher side as opposed to be on the lower side where you could get lead coming out of the water.
And just to be clear, it was the law that changed, not the water.
It was the same water we've been making since 1998.
Okay.
24 years.
All right. Any other questions or comments?
I just want to say, that's a pretty tight range, 7 to 8.
I agree, especially considering that we don't have an upper range in the distribution system. So we have to maintain at least a 7, but there is no upper range. And that gets tested monthly. And we've never had an issue with anything below a 7 in the distribution system.
I mean, I understand they have to change parameters, but to me, that was a big change.
Yeah,
To go from 8.8 to 8,
I agree.
you know, you're going from almost having 2 points or more to 1.2.
I agree.
Work in between.
We like to have a water that's a little more alkaline or a pH a little bit higher. It is what it is now.
Is it, and you might not know the answer to this, but is the DEP making this parameter this tight for other water municipalities?
Yes.
Because it seems like to me that's going to be an issue with everybody trying to get into that range.
Yeah, they look at your treatment process. It's not across the board, every water system, every water treatment plant, but they definitely have, I've seen it in other water systems where they have the same range as 7 to 8. Yeah,
Because at the higher range, it went from 8.8 to 8.
yeah.
You know, I mean, that's a drop, not 8.5, which probably
Yeah.
would be a little bit workable.
Joe has a secondary system that he runs, and he can tell you that their range is different than ours. So, what is it?
It's 8.2, but part of our conversation Rob and I had with the Zoom, with the DEP representatives, we addressed that, and they said, you know, let's get through this, and then we can go after an upper limit that's a little higher. So we're going to work on that as well. So
Okay.
give us a little more wiggle room.
Okay. Do we have any questions from the public? Just, I want to make sure if anyone has any, we can clear them now. Is that okay? Do we have any questions in the audience? No? Okay.
I just, Mayor, if I may, something that Rob had mentioned, which I thought, like, I drink this water every day, I make my coffee with it, and you said something which was comforting to hear, because the pH levels being on the lower ends where you get corrosive, and there's a shutdown system with our plant when it gets too low, right?
That is correct. We have an alarm system built into the plant, and it will alarm at a high or a low level. And if the water exiting the plant reaches 6.5 for more than 10 minutes, the plant will automatically shut down. It's basically a safeguard that's approved by the state. It's been there since day one. So we literally cannot put corrosive water into the system. it will never happen.
That's great. Well, I just got to say, Rob, I mean, you and Joe and the whole staff, CME has really done a nice job at coming on. You really turned around the water department. I think it really is in good shape in your hands, so
Thank you.
I do thank you.
Thank you.
I just have one last question.
Sure.
How long does the DEP, did they give you to make these adjustments? Was it like a month, or was it, because it seems like to go that tight, you should have had more of a working window to achieve that.
I had to submit a remedial measures report, which basically says, this is how we fix the issue. Now, in our case, it was really simple. We went into the computer and we just squashed down our range. I mean, it maybe took 30 seconds. In fact, I just got that in the mail, that has been approved, and that we are in compliance through the whole thing. I got it on October 24th. So honestly, I don't know, and I think they would work. You know, the water industry it's a tough business, and it requires sometimes a lot of money. So they will work with you when you have treatment issues like this, but I don't know how long it would, you know.
Well, I didn't know how they notify you that they're changing these parameters.
They notified us by email.
Did they give you any reasons?
There are no reasons.
Okay.
No, we asked them we were in a Zoom meeting with the bureau, the head of the bureau, and they do not have, they say it's based on the testing parameters that we did over the course of how long?
I think it was a year.
Yeah.
They
We did,
probably
yeah.
thought you could get to that parameter, so they thought it wasn't going to be a big deal.
I think they looked at our ranges throughout the course of a year and then decided that this was going to be the new range. And I understand that you do not want corrosive water in the system. You do not want lead to leach out of fittings or pipes, wherever it might be. But it's a little excessive, in my opinion.
So is what you're saying is from January until October is when you were notified? So
Yes, we weren't notified that we were in violation until October
Of this year?
of
of
2021.
2021. So this was from January to June, you were notified in October from the
Yes,
DEP?
yes,
That's really concerning.
yes, I agree.
That's really concerning.
After a 6-month cycle, they waited till October to let us know.
I mean, is that something that, I mean, because if there's something, and you test all the time, so you know what you're looking at.
Yes.
But, I mean, they're the official, they could come down here and, wreak havoc, Is there something that we can do in order to see if we can expedite that? Would that be something that we would do in a resolution and send something maybe to the DEP? I don't know. To see if they can tighten, just request that they tighten that window.
Out of all fairness, Councilwoman, DEP is difficult to deal with. Ever since COVID, they've been working out of their home. They're not being responsive. A lot of these projects that I talked about tonight, we've been working through them with DEP. But out of all fairness to these guys, it's not the easiest agency. It's just self-revolving.
But we're very excited on the projects that they are working with us
They-
on.
yes,
That
Yes.
we're going to get to
absolutely.
them very quickly and have a great relationship.
No, that's true.
Love that.
If I can, one more thing, Mr. Mayor. As far as, kind of policy looking forward, maybe us getting regular information from the water department, it's something that we haven't done in the past. I think it might be a good idea. I don't know if, I'll send that to your office, Mr. Vol.
That's not a problem.
Okay.
Plus, you'll be getting updates on the desal plant
Right.
progress as we move forward to make sure that Cape May has good drinking water and not drinking salt water.
Yeah, no, and I understand that our water has not changed, but yeah, but just some updates.
All
More
right,
work
guys,
for me.
I'm sorry.
We do have meetings with Mike, so you want something more formal, like a,
Yeah,
Well, they'll figure it out.
yeah, they'll figure it out. That's not, yeah, it's a policy issue.
Yeah, thank you, gentlemen, for being here tonight on a short notice.
Shane, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just want to bring up, this is probably the fourth or fifth time, and this is kind of like, sometimes it's hard for me to wrap my head around it because I haven't been in chemistry class in such a long time, but, so the lower pH is more acidic, which causes the pipes to leak lead, which is bad. And on the other side of the spectrum, when the pH is too high, that creates some kind of buildup.
It can cause scaling, correct?
Scaling,
Yep.
okay.
It's
the
it's
whole-
basically minerals is what happens. It can actually clog pipes, and it's like lime scale, they call it. You can buy the lime out, and, you know, it can stain fixtures in your bathroom.
And that's the purpose of the perfect medium. To avoid
Yeah,
those two things.
that's 8.5 or higher. That's when it starts to get real hard. They call it hard water. So you kind of want to be in that sweet spot around 7.5 to 8, somewhere right in there.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. And before you go, I do want to say, too, a couple of things to highlight. This caused a little concern in town, and I know, obviously, you guys have been getting a lot of phone calls. But the work that you've been doing, on the other hand, and I just want to say to the public, too, we had a goal. We initiated the Get the Lead Out program, and then the state actually came up with something similar. Not as fun of a name as ours, but and have met all of those goals for this year already. I think you removed 10 or 12,
10% this year, yeah.
10%. And I think you did that by, I don't know, a couple of
Early,
months ago or something.
yeah.
So you're well ahead of schedule, and the 2 wells that you fixed and worked really hard on, and worked with CME, you did a great job. And we had everything up and running the whole summer. So
Yep.
good work.
Thank you.
I just have one last question. Is there a reason why this went out by itself and not in the water bill that it usually does? Usually they put notices of quality of water like in the water bill.
When the DEP says you have to send out the notice, you have to send out the notice. And that's ultimately what it came down to.
Okay, because I got my water bill on Thursday, you know, and then I think this on Friday.
It
That's why I
was, yeah, it was, you know, them sending an email and saying, hey, it's about time, you need to get this notice out.
But, and I just go back to the timing, and this happened a year ago.
Correct. We worked with them for a year on the language of this. We tried to,
Well, I thought it was almost like a form letter that you go
it
through.
it
and
was,
put
but
in.
they allowed us to submit our own. We tried to soften it a bit.
There's a lot of red lines to
Bring
The
down,
whole thing was redlined. They, you know, because we knew when you read it, it makes it sound a lot worse than it is. It doesn't really correlate with what was going on here. No one was ever in danger of having lead in their drinking water, and that's what we worked, and it took a long time of back and forth and Zoom meetings. And ultimately, that's what we were forced to put out, and
Okay,
there
'cause I
was
know-
no more waiting.
I know our letter is very similar to another county that had the same issue, almost exactly. And I noticed our letter was almost exactly like theirs.
They are standard form letters. I believe that we may have been able to edit a few things in there. They were minuscule. Yeah.
all right.
Mayor,
And
should-
the-
So I mean, are we certain this
That's going in.
document is going out to every individual
Customer.
that got the previous document?
It was mailed today.
Okay, all right.
All right, well, thank you,
Mayor,
gentlemen.
Mayor,
Oh, I'm
should we
sorry.
talk about Resolution 259, how it relates to our water supply, well?
Oh, the well,
Yeah.
the well repair?
Well, 6.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Should we jump to that now?
Well, I mean, either give an explanation since
Yeah,
our
before,
experts are here.
before we get into, we won't bring it up for
Yeah.
resolution, but do you want to give council a quick explanation on 259? You probably don't know what that is, but of course, that's the AC Schultz bill for the well.
Sure. Actually, I have the memo that I sent, so I don't fumble my words. On December 10th, 2021, the water plant had an emergency shutdown. We investigated it and found the presence of sand in our pre-filtration system. They act as the buffer before this water makes it to the RO membranes, which are very sensitive. It occurred on well 6. It was just our workhorse well. I mean, we need well 6. Luckily, it happened in the middle of the winter. You need to keep in mind, this is a 24-year-old well, and it happens. We immediately contacted the well company that actually they drilled the well in the beginning. They installed it.
Right.
And they immediately started to inspect it, got a report together and said, sand made its way through into the bottom. It's a common occurrence, and we need to basically rehabilitate this well, and which they performed, and we had it up and running by July 4th.
And is 6 the one where we had the consultant as well?
We did.
Yeah.
We
And
did.
that, so, I mean, just so council knows, this consultant was frankly, overseeing AC Schultz all
Correct.
along the way with daily
Correct.
reports and all that kind of stuff.
And I think that he came to council and gave us an update, too, after it
Yeah.
happened, on how
That's right.
how well it went.
They refer to it as swabbing. More or
Right.
less, it's like a plunger, and it takes the sand and pushes it back out, repacks the aquifer and cleans the screen out real good, so. it's
And it
more
worked all summer.
Redeveloping, it's been great, yeah.
Good.
Well, we also, we also installed a new motor because it was in dire need of one, and all new cable because the cable was getting, when you pull it out and put it back down, and if you have a cable failure, you're dead in the water again, so,
Right.
no pun intended.
When you're
All
done.
right, well, great, guys, really appreciate it. Thank you
Okay,
very much.
you're welcome, you're welcome.
you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Mike, thanks for coming down today. So, Deputy City Clerk, and, oh, by the way, we should wish luck to Aaron, who, our regular city clerk, not our deputy, but is not in labor or anything, but is getting a little
On the
close,
way.
so.
All right, next, Mayor, we have ordinance for second reading and consideration for adoption. 482-2022, an ordinance amending Chapter 390 of the City Code regarding property maintenance to include regulation of invasive species, and there is a public hearing on this one tonight.
Is anyone here wishing to speak on ordinance 482, 2022? That's the ordinance on invasive species? Seeing none? Okay. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion?
I'll second.
Questions or comments? Roll call?
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes?
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sheehan?
Yes?
Councilmember Yeager?
Yes.
Mayor Malik?
Yes.
Okay, next, we have the public portion on resolutions only. Those wishing to publicly comment shall come forward, give their name and address, and speak directly into the microphone.
Do I have anyone here wishing to speak on the resolutions this evening? Any of the resolutions? Seeing none, we can close public comment.
Next, we have our consent agenda. Is there anything council would like to remove from the consent agenda?
Number 261 and 262.
Anything else, council? Okay.
Good. Okay, so we have 246-10-2022, a resolution authorizing advertisement for bids for reconstruction of Pennsylvania Avenue Phase 5, Pittsburgh Avenue to Baltimore Avenue. 256-11-2022, a resolution authorizing the sale of real property not needed for public use to bidder pursuant to auction adjoining owners under NJSA 40A:12-13, Block 1102, Lot 5. 257-11-2022, resolution refunding overpaid fourth quarter property taxes to 11 Beach Avenue, Unit C-09, Block 1019, Lot 28. 258-11-2022, resolution authorizing the sale of surplus city property no longer needed for public use through govdeals.com, public online auction. 259-11-2022, a resolution authorizing the city to award an emergency contract for well number 6 to AC Schultz for the Water Sewer Department in the amount not to exceed $112,632. And 260-11-2022, resolution authorizing advertisement for bids for update and dissemination of HPC design standards.
Do I have a motion, council?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Any roll call?
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sheehan?
Yes?
Councilmember Yeager?
Yes.
Mayor Malik?
Yes.
Okay, next we have 261-11-2022, a resolution authorizing award of bid proposal for a public announcement system along the beach strand.
I'll make a motion.
I'll
Good.
second.
Thank you, thank you.
I pulled this, I thought we'd just have a little brief discussion about it. It's $335,000 to put in the PA system from Convention Hall down to
Wilmington.
Wilmington. I would say Baltimore, but Wilmington.
Wilmington.
And it was only one bid, and it came in at that price. So I was a little concerned that the price was a little high, considering we're just putting, the poles are already in, is what I understand, and we're just putting up the wiring. But the wiring, you said, Ms. Baldwin, it's going to be underground?
It will be underground.
Now, you were saying 3 feet. Is 3 feet enough to be putting it underground?
That's what the consultant, as well as the The other two companies who install this recommended, yes.
Just to give people a little background too, this is basically our public address system for the beachfront, which has worked and not worked over the years. This is, and again, price is obviously a consideration, but this is top of the line, 80 decibels, which is very loud. You can hear that basically at the waterfront. If you're in the water, it may be a little more difficult to hear, but right to the water, you would hear 80 decibels very well. So this would give us the capability of, obviously, emergencies or anything like that, to get it out to, especially the kind of north end of town towards Wilmington and Pittsburgh and all that area is not covered at this point. So now, obviously, we'd be able to hit the entire beach in the city of Cape May with any emergencies. Also, it does allow us to do, and it's other little announcements on the promenade that say you can actually automate this so that every morning at 9:55 a.m. it could say, welcome to the city of Cape May, in a much better voice than mine, but in 5 minutes, would you please get off the promenade with all bicycles and electric vehicles or anything like that.
Now, this is be a different system than what's down at the southern end. So this is, and we never had a PA system at the
Right.
northern end before.
There actually was a wireless system that was up there, and it didn't work. It worked for about a year, according to Harry Back, because the Beach Safety Committee worked pretty extensively on this, and Harry's on there. He said that system really didn't work. It was operational for about a year, and then slowly, and that's the reason we ended up going with the wired system. All of the recommendations were for a wired system.
Now, are we getting any kind of warranty with this because of the fact there's salt water or salt air, with
Yeah.
the system? If that's probably why maybe the wireless wasn't working very well? Because we should have had a warranty with it, and it's concerning that we had it up for a year, and then it stopped working, and we didn't go after the vendor to fix it.
Yeah, this is years ago. I don't even know
These-
how old
Years
the.
ago.
I
Yeah.
think the speakers, their proposal specifically cites to the speakers being designed for open-air environments. So I think there should be some warranties attached to that, but they're choosing materials that are designed to be in this location, I
environment.
think.
This company's done the Wildwood Boardwalk and a couple other big, anyone who's walked on the Wildwood Boardwalk in the summer knows you can definitely hear their PA system above, watch the tram car and everything else.
Just note for clarity too, there is an existing system that's up there, I think, from Beach Patrol to Convention Center. As part of this, they're going to tie this in so that it'll be, the idea is to use one app, one software to control all of them and tie that existing system into this new one if.
And it will be wireless on the app, as well as 2 control stations, one at Convention Hall and one still at headquarters.
Okay.
So it'll be used for tourism, like the mayor said, tourism, as well as used for emergencies.
And we're not, I just want to be clear too, this isn't for noise pollution. We're not really looking to be playing music on a constant basis or anything like that. But maybe some pertinent information, tide changes or any rough ocean to let people know what, the status of the safety of the beach.
Yeah,
All right?
okay.
Any other questions or comments on 261? Okay, roll call?
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes?
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sheehan,
Yes?
Councilmember Yeager,
Yes.
Mayor Mullick.
Yes.
Next, we have 262-11-2022, resolution for the payment of bills.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Questions, comments?
I pulled the bills because I feel like a broken record. I keep saying we have to buy local, and every time I go through the bills, I see we're not buying local. And there's a bill in there for about $6,000 for mums. And again, we didn't buy local. We paid $200 for shipping fees. And I think I bought this up in the spring when we bought flowers before, so I thought kind of when it came to the fall, we'd be ready to buy local.
Well, the Public Works Department, who's responsible for getting the flowers, have been dealing with these people for years. It's the best price. If we try to buy local the amount of flowers we need that we put out to beautify the city, or if we went with our own vehicle to pick it up, it would be a lot more costly. So we do every other event locally that we can buy local, but if we went to a local farm market that sells flowers and all, they couldn't produce what we want anyway. And we've always always received quality plants. We've always had nothing but praise by people, the way the city looks with all the beautiful flowers, so.
But we should ask our local vendors if they could match the price. We shouldn't just assume that they can.
What they've done in the past, not to belabor the point, is I've been told they've done that. So what they do is they'll get it from the same producer that we get it from, they just mark it up.
Well, but
So-
I mean, I don't see anything in the bill saying that we contacted these local vendors.
All right, I'll do that.
And that's the only thing. And this is only one of the bills. I mean, I see that we're buying business cards, again, not local. I bought that up to just one-on-one. So it's weekly, I see we're not buying local.
Thank you.
Well, we'll have a report from the, well, DPW was just here last week, but we'll have some conversations and try to get, let's get an email to the deputy mayor on flowers, because that has been brought up a couple times. So if we can talk about locally.
Yep, and she's absolutely right, but I'm saying, I've been told that we went to local, I'm not going to mention them,
Right.
but they would get them from where the city buys them from at cost, and they would just they would go to the same market and get it and mark it up, so we'd be able to pay them more. But yes, I'll have Public Works send me an email addressing those issues.
Yeah, and I just want to
But
bring
we
up,
make every effort to buy local.
it's my understanding, too, the letter that went out to all of the citizens wasn't even printed in Cape May either,
You're right.
so.
All right. Any old business, council?
I do have old
Motion and
business.
second.
We still have to vote.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, we had to vote,
All
sorry.
right. Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sheehan?
Yes?
Councilmember Yeager?
Yes.
Mayor Mellick?
I'm going to be mum on this one. Yes.
Oh, man.
Sorry.
Any old business, council?
I do have some old business. Again, I'm going to feel like a broken record, but the construction people should not be parking in the city lot. They should be parking elsewhere. That parking lot is for people that want to come to City Hall, and they shouldn't have to pay to park or not have an opportunity to find a parking spot. These parking spots, are being taken up by the construction workers, and they should be parking, let them park over by Lafayette Street School and let them walk over, which I've been repeating for the last couple meetings now, but
I
it should
I can
be.
tell you, Deputy Mayor Sheehan, though, at all of the construction meetings, we've let them know.
Well, according to somebody who told me
So
yesterday,
maybe-
they came here to City Hall, they couldn't find a parking spot, and all the guys were sitting in their trucks eating lunch.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
obviously,
So
they're the
maybe at this,
constructions.
yeah. Okay.
And then my second old business is, do we have a time and a date for the department head meetings concerning budget? Usually it's around that Thanksgiving time.
Yes, is it 23rd?
It's 21 to
24th, I believe,
23rd.
We've scheduled?
Yeah, it's the week of Thanksgiving, the
And
23rd.
what-
Yeah, it's that week of Thanksgiving,
Week
yes.
of Thanksgiving, that's, I guess, in
But not Wednesday,
not
just
Wednesday.
Monday and Tuesday. Yeah,
Monday and
21st,
Tuesday?
22nd.
And what time do they start?
9?
9? Okay, and that in here?
It'll be in the council chambers.
Okay, if everyone knows, council chambers is upstairs. and
Right,
they
if
should come-
any public would like to come, they should report to the clerk's office, and if there's more people, we'll bring it to a larger table, okay?
Thank you, Mike, I
You
appreciate
bet.
that.
Okay. Any other old business, council? New business, city solicitor?
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
City manager?
Nothing, sir.
City clerk? Deputy city clerk?
There is a few things tonight. As Zach mentioned, the Phillies are on at Convention Hall Beach tonight at 8 p.m., and of course, alcohol is prohibited. Our next council meeting is going to be Monday, November 14th, because of the League of Municipalities. And then I do have some information about early voting as well. There is in-person early voting. That's going to be Saturday, October 29th through Sunday, November 6th. The hours are Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. You don't have to have an appointment. You can just walk in and they'll help you. Our closest location for that would be the Lower Township Library. That's at 2600 Bayshore Road in the Villas. And if you have any questions, you can call Erin or I. My direct line is 609-884-9530. And then, of course, the general election is coming up on Tuesday, November 8th, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Okay, great. Councilmember Baldwin?
Just two things that were on the agenda that we approved. I want to give a thank you to the HPC committee, specifically Pip Campbell, John Becker, Beavis Agno. They really worked a lot, getting those RFQs out, and then finally the design standards. The second one is the beach speakers. That was probably about a year's long, worth of work. Harry Back, that whole committee between Harry Back, Steve Steger, Alex Coulter, Christine DiDonato, and I'd like to mention also Joe McLaughlin. They were very instrumental in getting that together, as well as Lou and the manager's office.
That's great.
So thank you, and that's all.
Great. Councilman Meyer?
Yes, thanks, Mayor. I could be wrong, but am I correct that we take a lot of the signs off the boardwalk or the promenade that says, certain things are prohibited? Did we do that? Well, I'm not seeing signs.
Yeah, yeah.
I would like to see some signs up there, especially signs prohibiting electric bikes, because people are still using them, year-round. And the people that are walking up there, they're just being, I don't know what's the word, shocked when someone comes up speeding behind them, they didn't even see them or hear them, I just think we could take an effort to put at least those signs up year-round. We're a year-round town nowadays, and these people, I guess, may not be thinking, because they might be on a day trip or a vacation. But I think even if you just save some people from getting hit, these bikes are pretty heavy, and I think it's a major safety issue. So I'd appreciate
Those signs need to be amended yet. It's just,
And I'll point out, I think this council, maybe last year or the year before, when we were dealing with the promenade regulations, this is section 158-9, subsection 8. No person may ride or park an electric or power-assisted bicycle or electric or power-assisted scooter on the boardwalk, promenade, and environments at any time. So it doesn't require a code amendment, but the signs could be amended, or a new sign could be put up with the in-season, off-season rules. And this applies throughout the year, not just, there's no in-season or off-season.
that's right.
The other thing was the dates. Remember when dogs and bikes didn't have the same date? So then they had separate signs. Now we have the same date. But I think, Mr. Meyer, would you be willing to work with the
Yeah.
city manager's
I'll-
office on,
And the DEP, the Public Works.
right,
absolutely.
Yeah.
okay.
It's a major
Get a-
concern to
yeah.
people.
Good. Okay, that's
Oh,
great.
and then the other thing is, it's a shame that we had this news from, about the water, but it just goes to show that we need to get working on our water facility. And
Exactly.
there's a lot that we are doing right now, and I'm thankful for that. And I think you're right that these individuals we have running our water supply are doing amazing. And finally, I just want to, congratulate you on all the work for the speakers on the beachfront. That's, again, it's about safety, and that correlates with the electric bikes as well.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Mr. Meyer. Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, something new that I want to introduce here is the fact that, and I talked to Mr. Gillen-Schwartz about this before the meeting, is to put in our ordinance that we're not buying software from, I'm going to say, from the Chinese, because then it opens up a back door for us to be hacked. And the word hacked isn't the right way of saying it, because they're actually, if it's their software, they're not hacking it, they're just walking in and doing it. So I want us to be aware of what we're buying so that we're not putting the city in jeopardy. And that's where I was talking to Mr. Gillen-Schwartz about maybe putting it in an ordinance for any of our infrastructure, that we're making sure what we're buying is American-made, and we're not opening that back door up. And that also goes for radios and other things related to the water system.
I think there are some restrictions in where we can buy software from, actually.
I think we have,
But I mean, it's definitely, if there isn't, absolutely.
Or even put it in writing so it is clearly stated that we
Yeah.
don't want to do this.
there's a couple resources. One, the JIF, obviously. We have best practices compliance checklist, and there are cybersecurity, we have cybersecurity insurance, I think. So there are some resources there. And then also the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, which is a federal agency, they have some resources available too. 90% of these type of shutdowns of municipalities, and they do target municipalities, are phishing. And that's according to the federal government. 90% is that random email that comes in and you click. But I think what the deputy mayor is pointing to is, what about the software that we buy? Where is that coming from? Who controls that? You know, and that's another, like another concern in addition to the phishing. So I'd be happy to take a look at that and see what we can do. Either, you know, maybe it's a mixture of policy and regulation. My only concern about jumping into an ordinance would be making sure that we know what we're regulating and how we want to do that language so that we're not handcuffing ourselves to, you know, put security first. So the long and the short of it is I'd be happy to work with you on
Right.
Deputy Mayor.
And I thought everybody be aware that maybe before the next meeting might be coming through for you to take a look at it and have some input.
Good. Okay, Councilman Yeager?
Yeah, I'd just like to give a quick update. The police station task force met again last week. It was a pretty long meeting, but it was very productive. A good part of that meeting was a presentation by, it was the Department of Corrections, and it was important. I mean, it was fairly long, but it gave us a lot of information, and they're going to be very involved in inspecting what we do. So it justified the long. And then we spent several hours, but it was very productive because Robbie Conley Architects came in and they presented 3 different floor layout options and actually 2 exterior, very basic general design options. And we went through a lot of stuff in a lot of detail and worked out building layouts that were pretty satisfactory to everybody, in particular the police department, which had a whole lot of input into how the things should be laid out. So next meeting, we'll actually come back, they'll come back with drawings basically, you know, reflecting all the input that we had in that meeting, and with now furnishings and the like included. So we're going to be getting into a little bit more detail, and hopefully some, you know, that'll give us a little bit more of an idea of the renderings for the exterior, and then we'll be ready to go to the HPC to have their input into the building. So it was a good meeting, and just wanted to get you up to date.
That's great. And just for the public, those meetings are open to the public and are listed on the website if anyone's interested in attending. I will say there may be some times, especially in discussions with the DOC, that we'd have to kind of go into executive discussion for obvious security reasons, but otherwise they are open to the public. Just a quick one. I think these are the updated numbers. Parking meters this year are 1,764,591, which is actually down $40,000. We're going to work on that, but that's 1,764,591. Beach tags were at 2,818,649. That's 2,818,649. That's an increase of 150,000. So that was very good because you all know 21 was very strong for beach tags. And then occupancy tax, we have 2 more months obviously to be reported, but is at $2,913,086. $2,913,086, and that's up 1.1 million. So that's going to get a lot of work done. So which is great. I think you mentioned the roof going on the firehouse, which is exciting. We have the Welcome Center parking lot has started. If you get a chance to take a look over there, they should be laying down asphalt by next week. So that's,
About the parking lot, somebody's saying there's balusters going in there?
yeah.
I thought we weren't putting balusters in the parking lot. It was going to be all parking spots.
They're removable.
Oh, well, the parking's all on the other side of them. This is so they don't go into the rail.
Oh, okay, so but will there be parking?
They're on the Welcome Center side, so all the parking is on the restaurant side, basically, like looking at the Oyster
Okay.
Bay. Yeah.
Okay, so is it, I'm sorry, 'cause I didn't think we were doing balusters, that's why I was surprised that they were going in.
I think it was required, yeah. I think, that even may have been a DOT requirement
Did-
in regards to the active train rail.
Did we lose parking because of that?
No.
No, okay.
No, all the parking is on one side. It's still somewhat tight. I mean, it's not parallel, what do they call it? Angled parking,
Parking, okay.
you know. And then there's at least 2 handicap parking, which is nice. And then just finally, working with FEMA for funding for the seawall project. So it actually seems to be going pretty well. We're looking at a 70-30 match and then having other partners on the 30% part of that on the seawall. So we'll see what happens, but we're pushing for it. With that, I'll open it up for public comment. Anyone wishing to speak? You can give the official spiel, Emily.
Anyone wishing to publicly comment, please come up to the podium and state your name and address.
Oh, and while someone's coming up, the other AME church update, stained glass windows, which look beautiful, should be going back in the next couple weeks, as well as the paint being done as soon as the windows are done. No, thank you. Anyone wishing to speak this evening? Seeing none? All right. Motion to adjourn?
Go Phillies.
All right.
Motion.
And 8 o'clock on the beach, if anyone would like to go down. It's a beautiful evening, even just to check it out. Hot dogs and popcorn. All right. Thank you. Have a great evening.